Today we're going to be checking out some of the difference between these two Yeti mics, the Yeti X and the Yeti GX. And the first thing you're going to notice between these two mics right off the bat is their size differences. The Yeti X is going to be significantly larger than the Yeti GX. And I will say the build quality is also significantly nicer on the Yeti X in comparison to the GX. The design language of the Yeti X is going to feel a lot more studio style and mature. It just feels very professional, as opposed to the GX. It has this very like gamer vibe going for it, and I think these RGB lights is what kind of gives it that effect. But regardless of the design, the main reason you usually pick up a microphone is because of its microphone quality as well as the features it has to offer. So some of the features the Yeti X has to offer is this mute button. All you do is you press that, it glows red like that, and now no audio will be able to come in. To unmute it, you just go like that, and it goes back to showing what your levels are at, and you can adjust them on the fly and kind of see what they sound like. And if you have it too high, you can see now when we're speaking into the mic that it is turning yellow, and it's giving us an indicator that we need to kind of dial this down a bit so we don't distort the audio quality. And if you actually hold this dial button down, you're going to switch into a different mode, and it goes from adjusting the headphones on how loud the audio feedback is going to be. And then if you press it again, you can see what the balance is between the two and kind of have it blend and mix together. And then on the back of the microphone, you're going to see a really cool feature as well, where you can switch the cardioid pattern of the mic. So if I press it, this is going to be on directional mode, and with directional mode you have to speak directly in front of the microphone. If I press the button again, we also have figure 8 style, where basically you can speak into the front of the microphone or the back of the microphone, and this is going to be really good for like interview style podcast that you're doing. And then if I press it again, you're going to have another 8 style as well as an omni mode, where it's going to capture all of the audio completely around the room. And if you have like a large group of people, maybe like 4 people sitting around the room, you can just place this microphone in the center and all 4 people are going to be able to speak into here and get some pretty decent audio quality. And if we flip over to see what's under the Yeti X, you can see that we're going to have a micro USB cable which can connect directly to your computer, and you're also going to have a monitoring AUX jack cable. So a lot of really handy features with the Yeti X. Now let's see what the Yeti GX has to offer in comparison. So on the front of the GX, there's really not going to be anything here except the logo, which is nice and shiny with their RGB lights. If we flip over to the back, you can see we are going to have a dial. This is going to adjust the loudness of the microphone, and then you have a built-in mute button. When you press it, the little bar turns red here. And then they have another feature where if you press this, it'll try to stabilize your microphone levels. That way you're not speaking too loudly or too quietly, and it'll kind of keep you at one level. Under the microphone, you can see there's really nothing going on here, just a USB-C port, and that's it. So you're not able to monitor the audio with this microphone, so the only way to do it is by plugging it into your computer, and that's pretty much it. Where you can kind of plug this into your sound system and start using this as a microphone with a bunch of different systems. So you can use it on your computer or an actual professional studio setup. So in terms of features, the Yeti X is going to heavily outperform the GX. However, if you don't need all these features that the Yeti X has to offer and you just want something that sits on your desk, maybe the GX is going to be a better option, and you just want this microphone that has some cool aesthetics with the RGB lights going for it. However, it is also all about the microphone at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and hop on our computer to see how these both sound like when comparing them against each other. And we're going to be just plugging them into my MacBook Pro, and we're going to be using them out of the box without configuring the software. So we got the Yeti GX plugged in, and this is what the microphone quality sounds like. I'm about half a foot away, so here we go. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. And the cardioid pattern that this microphone is using is going to be only from the top up here, so we can't speak into the sides or anywhere. So this is going to be the best way to use the mic. You have to kind of point it up at you and speak into it like so. Now if I add some distance, this is what it's going to sound like. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. And now we're on the regular Yeti X microphone, and this is going to be using the directional cardioid pattern, and here's what it sounds like. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. And the best way to use this cardioid pattern is by speaking directly in front of it, and I'm about half a foot away. And if I move a little further, this is what it's going to sound like with some distance. And then this microphone also has some different patterns. If I go ahead and press the button here, Now we're in figure 8 mode where I can speak on this side of the microphone, or I can go ahead and speak on this side of the microphone. So you are better off using this if you're doing like an interview style. And then you have a few different other ones like a figure 8 mode or an omnidirectional mode where it can capture all of the audio around you no matter where you're standing. It's always gonna really pick up the voices in any direction. So as you can tell by these mic tests that both of them sounded pretty good for the most part. I personally did find that the regular Yeti X sounded more clear and just sounded more crystal to me personally. The GX sounded a little bit more murky when actually listening to it, but it's really not that big of a deal if you just want something that sounds good, because they both sound pretty good out of the box. It's gonna sound a lot better than using some basic microphones. So honestly, these things both sound better than my little lavalier microphone I'm using here, but I do like using a lavalier because I'm always running around, moving my head around, and that just makes things a lot easier to have stable audio. But of course, if you just need something that sits on your desk, you can't go wrong with either of these. And both of these microphones are going to have software where you can really configure what everything sounds like. You're going to have some very advanced equalizer settings, and you can configure what everything sounds like, the bass, the mids, the highs, all that stuff. So if you know what you're doing, you can definitely download them and really get the mic to sound exactly like what you're going for. So as of making this video, the price is going to be pretty similar with both of these microphones. The GX is going to be going for $150 and the regular Yeti X is going to be going for $140, so $10 difference. I personally would go with the Yeti X because this thing just has way more features, way more pickup patterns, feels higher quality, feels more sturdy. Everything about it just feels better to me. The only thing that's better about the GX is obviously it looks cooler, has these RGB lights, and it's more compact if you just want something smaller. Now, if you want to learn more about the Yeti GX, I recently did a dedicated review video on that, so be sure to click the video up here. And with that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.